Hi, everybody. Welcome to Pockets Full of Soup, the storytelling show. I'm your host, Jared Petty. I'm joined tonight by a very special guest. I am thrilled to be sitting next to this kind human being.
Thanks, man.
And you are?
Gio Corsi.
And Gio, your day job is pretty nifty.
It is. I'm very lucky. I'm senior director of third-party production and developer relations for Sony Interactive Entertainment America.
That's a really cool job title. That's like Imagineer.
Yeah, that's right. It is Imagineer. It's basically working with all the indies, working with all of our digital developers and publishers, and working with a lot of our Japanese partners to bring their content west.
That is a really nifty job. That sounds pretty darn groovy. And you're here on Pockets. You're one of our Patreon supporters.
I am.
You graciously offered to be on the show, and I was like, okay. So. I'm a little starstruck. Right now.
Come on!
I'll make googly eyes.
Come on, we're like brothers. We're both bald. We have beards.
Oh, we are bald and bearded.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true.
I think your beard has a little better luster than mine.
I know, but you have very little gray.
Oh, that's less. Yeah. But it's coming.
It'll get there eventually.
I kind of like the gray.
Thanks.
Do you like the beard?
I do. Yeah. Well, if I don't have a beard, I just look like a 250-pound baby. Yeah.
Just a big diaper with like
no. And my wife is like, you look too much like your dad.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Ooh, yeah. Okay. That's frightening. I look a lot like my dad.
If you ever see me without facial hair, that means I just had a really bad shaving accident.
Oh, have you had that?
When you try and sculpt sometimes and you just make that one nick and it's just like all of a sudden it's like the mustache doesn't attach to the beard anymore. Luckily, I'm like a Sasquatch from the head down, so this grows back in like 5 minutes.
Okay, so you have had to do the face clear and reset?
I've had to do a reset once or twice, yeah.
Ooh. So I had to make a choice once. I have never shaved my beard for the last 18 years. 18 years, yeah. I've had it about half my life now. I grew it originally to impress a girl.
Nice.
Nice. She went on to bigger and better things, but the beard stayed. And I discovered I liked it. And I have never shaved it off. I came close the last year when there was an unfortunate barbering accident, and a well-meaning but misguided hair care specialist gave me the chin strap.
Okay.
He took it up way too high.
Right. And
I had to choose between a month of awkward beard and shaving it off and resetting. And I chose that month of awkward beard because I just couldn't get rid of it.
No, fair enough. What about when did you go bald?
Oh, no, I went bald early. I had lustrous flowing locks when I was like 18 or 19. And by the time I was 22, it was falling out in clumps.
So we're exactly the same.
Same way? Really?
Yeah. But not like I had thick black Italian horsehair. Like it was just like you had to get an industrial scrub brush to get through that stuff. Like it was thick, it was powerful.
Oh, wow.
And then it just all went away. It just all went
vanishing
away.
Yeah, just gone.
There's pictures of when you're 19 or whatever, backpacking through Europe with your buddies, and the beginning of the trip and the end of the trip, and the hairline went from here to here. It's like okay.
So when did you decide to? We all reach that point where we have to be gracious and start just shaving the rest.
Sure.
When did that come?
That was very early 20s. I was just, luckily as it was coming off. I think I was working I grew up in Vancouver, born and raised, and there's a local ski mountain called Grouse Mountain. I was the sky ride operator, so you have to take a tram from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain.
Oh my gosh!
So I was a sky ride operator, and the guy who ran the mountain, he was shaving heads for his kids' hockey team charity or something like that.
Okay.
So I thought, I'm losing it. Let's just shave it off. It came off, and I was like, I have no divots, I have no bumps. This head's pretty nice and round. There's nothing wrong with it. So at that point on, I just never grew back.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And so first, that's an interesting story about you did it for a charity haircut.
Yeah, because and I'm sure there was a girl involved as well. Let's be honest.
But second, you were master of a ski lift.
I was not slow down, Tex.
Okay.
I was not the master of it. I operated the tram, which is the welcoming the passengers, telling them about the history of the mountain. It's a 7-minute ride from the bottom to the top, and it's a tourist attraction in Vancouver during the summer.
Okay.
In the winter as well, but it's also a ski mountain. So when you're young, you're in your early 20s, and it's guys and girls working on a mountain. You've seen those 80s ski movies.
Yeah. Is it like that?
Sometimes.
Were there zany antics?
There were zany antics. That's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Okay, can you tell a zany anecdote?
No, I cannot.
All right.
No, I cannot.
That's probably wise on your part.
No, I can't.
Still, I like to imagine you going mad with power in control of the lift.
At one time, I did have Lawrence Fishburne on my tram, and I didn't realize it until the very end when he came to me and he said, "Hey, man, you're pretty funny."
Wow.
And I was like,
Cowboy Curtis told you you're funny.
Told me I was funny.
Man, you must have known you were destined for great things.
I don't know, but Lawrence Fishburne said I was funny, so that's all that mattered.
That's
it. That's all that mattered.
No, that makes. Wow, that's extraordinary. Okay, I honestly, I've only been starstruck a few times in my life, but if Morpheus told me I was pretty funny.
That would I wasn't starstruck because I was just like, oh, thanks, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
like,
that's great.
My all-time favorite actor is Kurt Russell.
Oh,
hands down, Kurt Russell.
Angie and I invited Kurt Russell to our wedding. He didn't come. Well, but we love him.
He's a very busy guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So he was in Vancouver filming Miracle, the hockey movie.
Yeah.
And my friend Georgia, she was working on I forget what the word for it is, but when you're doing all the food for the set and for the people, because she's a chef. She invited me on set to meet Kurt Russell. And like all my friends know that Kurt Russell is my guy. Like he's my boy. I've got an Escape from New York poster hanging up there on the wall, an original, on the thick 70s paper.
Nice.
And I met him and I couldn't say a word. I could not. Nothing came out of my mouth. And he signed a picture. He said hello. And he was very gracious. And then it turns out that, my cousin, who at the time was running a restaurant in Vancouver, Kurt and Goldie, were living in Vancouver. They would come to the restaurant every week. And how many times did my cousin call me?
None.
You know when he would call me? After they left.
It's like, Kurt
Russell, by the way, Kurt Russell was here. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. We're family. Why don't you call me so that I can at least talk to this guy over wine and food, which is much better than seeing him on set and just not being able to say anything. And that was the one time I met him, and I was too starstruck. I couldn't. Snake Plissken is Jack Burton.
It is exactly.
R.J. McCready. Like you can't. Yeah.
Goodness.
So
what's Kurt Russell's greatest role?
For me, it's Snake Plissken.
Yeah.
Escape from New York is my number one all-time favorite movie, hands down. I'm sure there are better movies out there, but for me, there's not.
Okay.
And Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken. I mean, Jack Burton is like Snake Plissken. Jack Burton.
Yeah, just covering a finger
right
sliver
there,
below.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So you have, I noticed you talked about Snake Plissken in your Twitter profile. You have a couple of things there. You have Snake Plissken and you have ramen.
Yes.
Why ramen?
Ramen to me is the best meal possible. It's a wild cornucopia of different flavors and textures and aromas, and it's every bowl is a different adventure. And I really didn't get into it until I moved to Singapore and was living there for a few years, and I tried it for the first time. And then going to Japan with Sony, obviously, food is, as you can tell, is very important to me.
Yeah.
And having ramen, it's fast, it's hot, it's delicious. And luckily, my friends who work at Sony Japan, they're always like, okay, Gio's coming to town. This new place opened up. Let's go check that out. So like my buddy Brad, who works over there, every time I'm over there, we at least go to one shop. It's usually 3, but it's a definite one.
You're going to do one, and you hit as many as you can.
Trying it, yeah.
For people who aren't familiar with what ramen's like in Asia, or what it's like when you go into like a mom and pop ramen joint, can you describe what makes the experience special?
For me, it's you're always waiting. There's always a wait, no matter what. It's cash only. There's no English on the menu. You just basically have to point, and because I speak zero Japanese.
Oh, really?
Zero, okay. Yeah. You point, and the bowl that comes is scorchingly hot. Mm-hmm. It is just basically it boiled and it came to your plate.
Yeah.
Boom! It's scorchingly hot, and you eat it fast, and you slurp, and you make a lot of noise, and it's just such a visceral experience. Of goodness, it doesn't matter if it's pork based or shoyu based or chicken based or if it has different kinds of vegetables or different kinds of spices on. I love mine spicy, but it's just it's love in a bowl.
I like seeing this kind of passion about delicious noodles. Well, how's Singapore ramen different?
I think they were in Singapore, and I mean it's been years since I lived there, but when I ate it, it was just like I found it a bit heavier. I found it stuck with me longer. I mean, a good ramen for me punches you in the face with its flavor, and then an hour later you're fine.
Yeah.
It's like drinking a big cab. You get that punch in the mouth, and it's just like, oh, this flavor is amazing. And and then after a while, it's like, okay, it's settled into this nice rhythm, and then it's gone.
So like a pugil stick to the chin.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And then the bruise wears off.
Yeah, and I think in Singapore, it was just like they were, Singapore is one of the best foodie cities in the world. Like, hands down, bar none. It is one of the best foodie cities in the world. And if anybody's a foodie, you have to go to Singapore. They take so many chances. They try so many cuisines. It's a great way to explore food. And with ramen, it wasn't so much about the mom and pop shops. It was more about like, this chain from Japan wants to open up a shop here, so they're going to open up a shop, but they're going to bring in some Singapore chefs, so they're going to try some stuff, and it was all really, really good. Like, there was no I didn't have a bad bowl per se. Yeah. It was just different. And much like when I go to Vancouver and have a bowl of ramen, it's different. Here in San Francisco, different.
I'm still looking for the right San Francisco ramen. I've been shopping around. Have you found a great one?
I haven't. My go-to in San Francisco is, because it's close to the office, is Himawari in San Mateo. Okay. But I also write a ramen blog with a coworker of mine. It's called twonoodlesblog.com.
TWO or?
2, the number 2.
Okay, number 2.
And Matt was just telling me, like, hey, over the break, there's like a bunch of new shops that have opened downtown. We should go check them out. I'm like, really? It doesn't surprise me. Again, San Francisco, another amazing foodie town. Yeah. So much to explore and taste here. So, yeah, we're going to try some ramen over the break. Nothing says Christmas like ramen.
Nothing should say Christmas like ramen. I also adore ramen, although I don't think I have your degree of ramenology.
People ask me if I'm an expert, and I'm an enthusiast. Yeah, I am not an expert in anything other than an expanding waistline.
I was very fortunate when I lived in Japan. I lived in a small town kind of in the center of Honshu.
Okay.
And so you still had access to all the standard Japanese ramen forms.
Sure.
But you also had some more hill country variants.
Okay.
With slightly modified ingredients.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky, man.
That's really cool.
Try some great stuff. We'll have to talk ramen after the show. But we should probably get around to that question that nominally is the first question that I ask.
Sure. It's not about Kurt Russell or ramen?
No, it's not about Kurt Russell. Well, it depends, unless you're going to talk about Kurt Russell.
No.
And that question is, tell us about somebody you're thankful for.
The person I am most thankful for, obviously, like everyone, parents, wife, family, and friends, they're all amazing. I wouldn't be where I am without them. But I think for me, the one that I'm really thankful for is this guy by the name of Crispin Hands. And why I'm thankful is because he is the guy who got me into the gaming industry.
You're in the gaming industry?
I am in the gaming industry. Yeah, believe it or not.
You've got a slightly prominent role in what we do. Crispin Hands.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to the beginning of the story of you and Crispin Hands. Does your acquaintance predate his work in gaming, or did you guys go back before?
Yeah.
When did you guys meet then? Before games?
I met Crispin in grade 11.
Okay.
He was my math tutor.
No kidding.
No kidding. I'm horrible with numbers. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, amazing. Calendar dates, amazing. Get me into algebra, and it's just like, 1, 2, 4, 5. I don't know. What's a 3? I don't remember. It's like, it all goes pear-shaped.
Imaginary numbers.
Yes. And then in the grade 11, algebra was like the main crux of the curriculum. Mm-hmm. And without passing grade 11 math, you're not going to get very far in grade 12. So,
So you're having some trouble.
So I got a tutor.
And this is in Vancouver?
This is in North Vancouver.
Vancouver, okay.
So I got a tutor by the name, he's a guy in my class, Crispin Hands. And
same age?
Same age, but he's a tall drink of water, like tall, lean bean, red, shockingly red hair. And he's a musician by trade.
Oh, was he playing music then?
He was playing music then, yeah. So, but we were in math together, and I was going into the final exam with failing grade, and thanks to his tutelage, I got 85% on my final exam, passed grade 11 math, and we became friends, obviously. And in high school, like the music group and the theater group. I was in the theater group. He was in the music group, and we all just hung out together, and we became friends, and we still remain friends to this day.
Why did he take you as a tutoring student? Was it something he volunteered for? Or was it his part-time job?
No, he volunteered. It was like out of the goodness of his Canadian heart, helping another Canadian. Yeah.
Are Canadians especially generous in tutelage toward other Canadians?
Maybe back in '88 they were,
right.
but
so he was a musician. What's he play?
Yeah. God, that's a good question. He played a lot of different things, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, today, he is a sound designer in the gaming industry. Most recently, he worked on Gears of War 4.
Okay.
And he's fantastic.
But he played all kinds of things then. And you were in theater?
I was in theater, yeah. I was, you did the plays in high school and whatnot, but what I really took to was improvisation. Improvisational comedy, and I was actually part of a theater troupe, an improvisational theater troupe called 43 Pounds of Wasted Space. Yeah.
Why 43?
Yeah, 43 is, for some reason, it's always been a lucky number for us, for me in particular, but we say for us because all of us have a special place in our heart. There's 9 people altogether in the group.
Are you still doing this?
No. Oh, God, no.
No, you don't do it anymore?
No.
Reunion tour? Perhaps?
Yeah, maybe one day. We used to do shows, and we'd sell out little theaters in North Vancouver, and it was a great time. It was I look back at those times fondly. We had such a blast. We would write our own stuff, and it was great.
But Crispin did music, and you did theater, and because of that, you ended up in some of the same circles in school.
Yes, and like the funny thing about our group of friends in high school, we're all still friends. Like that core group is still friends.
That's unusual, I think.
Yeah, especially for that number of people.
Yeah.
To be.
How many of you are there, you think?
Well, there were 9 of us. I still talk to all 9, but I'd say I'm still very close with at least 6 or 7 of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're like the Big Chill, but better. It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
So you and Crispin and these other folks that were part of the improv group, part of his music there. Mm-hmm. You met, you hung out. What manner of zany antics were you guys into?
Well, we did, like we said, we did a lot of shows, and we would, some of us would work in like the same jobs. There was movie theaters, and there was Grouse Mountain, and there was the first IMAX theater at Canada Place in Vancouver around, I guess it opened for Expo 86.
Okay.
And then it stayed open, so it was a big IMAX screen, and some of us worked there. And then there was this place called Lonsdale Quay, which was the public market, and that's where the sea bus between downtown and North Vancouver would come. I'm throwing out all these terms.
There's going to be some very happy
Vancouverites out there. They're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, at Lonsdale Quay, a bunch of us had jobs and would hang out. And funny story there. So I had 2 or 3 buddies who worked at. It was called the Cheesesteak Company, not to be mistaken with the Cheesecake Factory.
Right.
But it was like cheesesteak sandwiches.
Okay.
It was in the food court. So my buddies were working there, and I would hang out there. My wife, Michelle, back in the day, would come and hang. She was from the wrong side of the tracks.
Oh,
yeah, she's
different part of Vancouver.
Yeah, she's a naughty girl. She would come to Lonsdale Quay because her and her cousin had crushes on the Cheesesteak Boys, and it was like years later. And at our wedding, as we're getting ready to, her cousin, who she went to the Lonsdale Quay with, was the bridesmaid, and one of the Cheesesteak Boys was a groomsman, and the other one was the MC for the wedding. And so Michelle was like, "Hey, Laura, do you remember the Cheesesteak Boys?" And blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're going to be partnered with one of them at the wedding. And
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
so you, your wife, and the guy that got you into this industry all went to high school together.
No, my wife didn't go.
Each other in high school.
No, I didn't know my wife. That was just a side story.
Side story off.
No, I didn't meet my wife until 2003.
You better hang out then. I apologize.
Yeah. No, that's okay. But she was in North Van at the Quay, and
But you never crossed paths.
But we never crossed paths.
All right. Yeah. Sorry, but
it's fine. It's fine.
So you and Crispin, high school together, working in the same kinds of places. He was your tutor.
Yep.
And then he somehow becomes instrumental in bringing you into what you do now.
Yes.
So it sounds like he made his way in first?
He made his way in first.
How did he do
it? He got a job because he wanted to get into sound design and music, and he got into the video game industry with Electronic Arts Canada.
Okay.
So this is now, I think, the mid-'90s. Yeah, it was the mid-'90s. So I had a couple of buddies who were working in QA at Electronic Arts, and Crispin, who was working, I believe, on the Need for Speed team. This is Need for Speed, like PlayStation 1 Need for Speed. Okay. So that's all fine and dandy. At the time, I am a bartender at a restaurant in Vancouver.
About how old were you at this point?
I was 23.
23. Okay.
23. Come home from work one night. My mom is sick. She's got a cold. She's in bed reading. My dad's still at work at the restaurant. And I'm like, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And she says to me, oh, don't worry. I'm telling her about my day and how things are shitty or whatever. And she's like, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be all right. An hour later, my dad's slapping me awake. Call the ambulance. My mom passed away. 23 years old. Just like that.
Oh, my God.
Luckily, like no pain, no nothing, like inner sleep. Like it was the best way you could possibly go, right? So at this time, my dad and I are not on great terms because he's like, you should go to school, you should get a degree. And I'm like, I just want to hang out with my friends. I want to go traveling, like the usual kind of stuff. And my mother was always the keeper of the peace and like the head of the household and whatnot. I'm an only child. So, all of a sudden, she's gone. It's just my dad and I now, right? So,
and I imagine in shock.
My dad was like, they've been together since like teen years. Like they were, long term. So that he was a mess. So I just automatically went into support mode and helped him through. And don't be so shocked. It's okay. It was a long time ago, and it's but it's I mean, I've grown so much from it, and it's it's one of those life changing and life affirming moments where you're like, oh my God, I lost my mom. But you grow up so much in that moment, and that's exactly what I did. Like it just, my dad was in the midst of opening a restaurant at that time, which I didn't want any part of because although I love the food and I love to cook, I don't like the idea of working in a restaurant and like cooking the same meal 30 times a night, 7 nights a week, 31 days. It's hard work, and it's just not what I'm interested in. Yeah. But because of this, what happened with my mom, I decided, like, I'll leave that place. I'll come work with my dad. I'll run his bar, open the restaurant, help him out, and do that kind of thing. So that's what we did. And, ultimately, my dad and I are now like two peas in a pod. We're super close, and it's awesome.
Wow.
Totally. It's awesome. But about 5 months into it, I'm like, Dad, I can't do this. Like, this is just not me. Like,
you got it off the ground.
Yeah.
You've been there to help him through the transition.
Totally. And like, I can't do it. And lo and behold, Crispin gives me a call.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, why don't you, I know you're not happy there. Why don't you come and work at EA? And I'm like, EA, what would I do there? Like, he's like, because, while I'm in the gaming industry, it was not always my dream job to be in the gaming industry.
Yeah.
I've loved games, and I love movies, and I love comic books, and I love animation. But it never occurred to me that working at a gaming company could be a profession.
Yeah.
That could be a life.
Right.
Because I grew up with my family being immigrants from Italy, and like I'm the first member of my family born outside of Italy.
Wow.
Working in the restaurant, or working, like typical Italian, working in construction, or working, like my buddy Dino, his dad was into tiles, and like it's Italian. That's what you do. You work in food, you work in construction.
It just had not occurred to
me that I could make games, I could make cartoons, I could, like I could write or draw in comic books. Like this can't be real.
But apparently it occurred to Crispin.
It occurred to Crispin, and he knew that inside of me that was what my passion was. Like it's funny how your close friends sometimes know you better than you know yourself. Before we continue the story, if you don't mind, I'd like to bridge into that for a second to interrupt and ask, what is it about Crispin that makes the two of you close, and what is it about your relationship that made him perceive that about you? I think with Crispin, our relationship, like I've always been the guy who goes for the laugh and, tries to make everybody happy and whatnot. And Crispin is very much the same way. Like it's part of that entertainment gene, I guess, of like keeping the crowd wanting more or whatever. But with Crispin, when he would talk to me, is he would just cut through all the bullshit. And he would just know how to, like, you're feeling this, or, I can tell that this is happening and whatnot. And for some reason, I would just never kind of blow it off. Mm-hmm. I'd just be like, yeah.
When you said it, it was different?
Yeah.
So do you mask things with laughter normally? Is that something you do?
I used to a lot.
Definitely.
Definitely.
You saw that.
Definitely. Yeah, I used to a lot. Like, you know.
Vice versa, what drew you to him?
He's just real. Yeah. He's just real. He's a real guy. He's just, he's just a real, he's what he says is real. What he means what he says what he means. Mm-hmm. And I like that.
That's kind of rare and wonderful.
It is, yeah.
I wish I were more like that. To be honest with you,
I wish I was more like that too. And a lot of my close friends are like that as well. Especially the ones I grew up with. Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of us are still friends to this day. That. But Crispin was the one who was like, I think you're going to like this. Try it out for the summer. Try it out for the summer. Okay. Work in QA. My buddy Peter was working there. He's like, Pete's working there. Like it'll be fun and it'll get you out of the restaurant. Mm-hmm.
So were you working with him directly?
I was working with him directly. He was in the audio department. I was on the production team, and we were together for.
And
a
now
few
instead
years.
of the movie theater, now you're working together.
Now we're working together, making amazing things. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! During that period of time, if you don't mind me asking, for both of you, obviously it's got to be a tremendous boost in confidence, and he seems to have been. What was it like for the two of you? You're young adults who have gone from high school and hanging out at the movies to, in a lot of ways, living a dream.
Yeah.
Did you know it at the time?
No.
Did the two of you understand at all?
Well, maybe he did. I don't know. I didn't. No.
Yeah.
I still don't get it. I've been in the industry for over 20 years, and I'm in my mid-40s. I still don't get it. This is a ridiculously amazing industry that we are in, and for me, where I am right now with Sony and working with all these developers who are making these great games for whether it's VR or PlayStation 4 or now with the Pro or Vita, like being back in PS3 days, like it's amazing. And like the team that I work with in developer relations and third-party production, they're just, like I was saying earlier to you, they are crazy. But crazy in a good way, because they're passionate about the games that they're bringing on board and helping their partners out. And like, I can't stress enough how blessed I feel me being a completely non-religious guy, I feel blessed that I get to work with these people and, be their manager, be their leader for this little department of ours, because they're so hardworking and they're fantastic. And it, for me, that is one of the joys of coming to work, is to work with these guys.
What's something that Crispin, over the course of the last 2 decades of you doing this, because this has been your heart and your vocation for 20 years now, ever since that beginning. What's something that your friend Crispin has taught you in that time?
I don't know if it was him that taught it to me or whatnot, but in October, in October, I went back home to Vancouver, and Crispin was helping a buddy of ours, Dino, record an album. He's a musician as well, so Crispin was recording it for him. So they were taking a break, and I decided, I haven't seen you guys in a couple of years physically. Yeah. Let's get together for like a half-hour visit. And we ended up, between the three of us, just having this amazing conversation. And I told Crispin at that point, I was like, you're the guy who got me into the gaming industry. Mm-hmm. You're the one who told me about the job, and for that I'm forever thankful for you. And he was just like, I don't even remember that.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, he was like caught off guard. He was almost in tears. He was just like, that's so meaningful. Like, I can't believe that. That's amazing. I'm like, I've never forgot it. I never forgot it. And he was just blown away.
He didn't remember that he was the one that had opened those doors.
No.
Gosh, that'll, first, the fact that you got to tell him that and see the reaction and see how much it mattered to him, that must have been striking. Did it make you go to yourself, I wonder who I've done that for, and I have no idea?
No, it didn't. It just made me really happy that I was finally able to look him in the eye and say thank you. Oh, yeah.
After that time.
Yeah.
So is he still living in Vancouver?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he ever move away?
Yes, he's moved. He's lived abroad, and I don't know. He was looking at a couple of different gigs there were some local and some abroad for him. I don't know which one he ended up taking. Mm-hmm. I'm going back up to Vancouver in January or so we'll find out.
Talk about it then. And
talk about it then.
So,
yeah.
What's the best Gio and Crispin story? In all these 25 or more years of friendship, what's the moment I don't know, just what's the anecdote that stands out for you?
I think it was one time we were on the bus. We were, teenagers, idiots, performers, and we started singing the Hawaii Five-0 theme on the bus. That da, 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 and we were doing it with different sounds and different like mock instruments, and we were just having the grandest time, just like killing ourselves. I'm sure everybody else on the bus was just pissed off beyond all oblivion, but for him and I at that moment, we were just killing ourselves laughing. And it was just it's not about like events or like that weekend when, or that. It was just about that 5 minutes on the bus when we were killing ourselves laughing because together we were creating this ridiculous thing that only the two of us would ever find funny.
No, I get that, man.
Yeah.
I think it was Will Faulkner who talked about your little postage stamp of life, about those little moments that were just contextualized to you, and so much of friendship, I think, is made up of bursts of laughter, or tears.
You guys, for sure.
You ever had a moment that hit hard for one of you that the other one was there for?
Well, yeah. I mean, he was there for me when my mom passed away, and then when
he was there for that.
And then when his father passed away, it's just, it's when you lose someone. What do you say? Condolences. I'm so sorry for your loss and all that. And I get, having lived through that, I know what people are trying to say, and it's at the time you don't want to hear it. You just don't. And but just when you see the pain of the situation happening in your friends' faces, and that they care for you so much, and they feel for you so much, and they don't know what to do for you, but they're there for you regardless. That to me is, that's how somebody was there for me at the time. And it's the same when his father passed, and it's just, again, you can't, I'm sorry, like, for what? You didn't do anything, but we just had that understanding. We've both been there. We've come up in our careers together. We've both lost a parent together. It's
Do Canadians make death casseroles?
I don't think so.
In the Southeast where I grew up, when people feel helpless and don't know what to do when someone they love has suffered a loss in their family, they do two things. One, they do exactly what you just expressed. Try that inadequate, desperate desire to be. And two, they bake a casserole and give it to them.
I think in our household it was more the red wine and stuff than the casserole. But
I wish I were
similar,
joking, but I can't.
No.
I used to work in the clergy, and if somebody died, there was casserole.
There was casserole. Yeah, and if American movies have taught me anything, when somebody dies, there's a wake with a lot of food.
Yeah, a lot of eating.
Yeah, but that's what we did when my mom passed away. We had the service, but then we just had the biggest party possible. At the time, my parents ran a place called the Park Royal Hotel in West Vancouver, had a huge patio, and we just had a huge party for my mom. And the only thing we served was my mom's shitty white wine that she really enjoyed. Everybody drank Coley Albani because that's no offense to anybody who likes Coley Albani. I'm sorry, but
you drank it there.
But we all drank it there, and we raised our glasses continuously. And that's to me, that's what it should be, a celebration. Especially when it's so sudden like that. Yeah. When nobody's prepared for something like that. It's just celebrate it. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a long drawn out process or if it's a sudden process. A life should be celebrated. And when I eventually go in 400 years, because science will have finally caught up, and I'll be more machine than man. I want it to be a big party. Okay. I really do. I just I don't want people to be sad. I want people to be happy, because this, I'm married to the most beautiful woman in the world, and we've been together for 11 years, and it's fantastic. B, I work in an amazing job that I love every day, in this industry is fantastic. It's been very, very good to me. And C, I love life. The food, the people, the passion of what we get to do and what we get to see and who we get to talk to. It's just, this is all what's going on in the world aside, and I know things are horrible and people are freaking out and don't know what's going on, but at the same time, we're living in an amazing time, and we should be thankful for everything that we get to do.
Okay, so yeah, I have nothing to top or add to that. That's extraordinary. I'm be honest with you, Gio. I think we're going to move the other part of the interview from there. If that's
Okay.
all right with
No,
you,
that's
because
it.
I don't think it's going to get much more high. That was, to say touching is a gross understatement.
Oh,
That was inspirational in the least hallmark way possible.
Thank you.
That was
Thank
lovely.
you. Thanks, man.
And meaningful.
Yeah,
and
I do mean it. I really do.
good.
Thank you. Thank you.
For that.
And thank you, Crispin, if you end up hearing this or seeing this. Yeah. Honestly, man, thank you very much for opening that door to the last 20 plus years. Thanks, man.
So now I'm going to sheepishly look into the camera for a moment and say, wow, I have, this is, people are amazing. Thank you, Gio.
Well, thank you.
So I want to thank a couple other people here. We have folks that help make the show possible. Two of them, Nick Ray and Robert Nieder, are our Patreon producers. They help make every one of these episodes possible. Thank you guys, and to everybody else who watches and listens and all the rest. You guys know the spiel by now. You know, if you want to support the show, there's a million ways to do it. We hope that you will. I'm not going to besmirch that awesome bit with any more commercialism.
Oh, dude.
So
let's
move on to now we make that hard left turn. The instant noodles.
Okay.
They're going to be
lightning
instant ramen in honor of you.
Okay. All right.
So we're going to what we're going to do is we're going to jump back and forth a little bit between the instant noodles questions and a few of the thank yous that people have. So starting with the first one. So this episode is most likely, if everything went like we wanted, this going up for Christmas.
Okay. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas to everybody. What's the best Christmas present you ever got, Gio?
Ooh, it's a game console.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was the ColecoVision.
You had a ColecoVision?
I did.
Expound.
Yeah. Well, I wanted a gaming system, and my parents, God bless them, they had no idea what video game system was. So I think my dad talked to one of the waiters or the busboys at the restaurant, and they ended up getting me a ColecoVision. And I remember it vividly because I was so excited about it that I couldn't stand. Like, I was kind of on my knees opening the present, and when I saw it, like, I just started burst into tears, and I couldn't get up, and I was just shaking. I was so excited that I got this ColecoVision.
What year was this, roughly?
Ooh, it was early 80s, so yeah. I was 9 or 10 years old or so.
ColecoVision was introduced in 82, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
So you saw that matte black finish with those big white keypads and those horrible control knobs and the two side buttons.
Yeah.
So we have similar. I, too, grew up with the Z80 processor and the Texas Instruments graphics processor. I had a Coleco Atom, the ColecoVision home computer.
There you go.
Which was a ColecoVision with 64K of RAM stapled onto it and a really bad printer.
Ooh, look at that, huh? 64K.
That's right. Stapled
all the power you could ask for.
Which immediately failed and bombed.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Coleco was fun.
It was.
At the time, it was mind blowing.
Yeah, Zaxxon 3D.
Ooh, that's a beautiful game.
That was a great game. Yeah.
But Zaxxon was wonderful.
Yeah.
What else? Space Panic was better on the ColecoVision than it was on other.
There was Tarzan, which was their riff on Pitfall. There was BC Quest for Tires.
Oh, that's a
there
great
was,
game.
Of course, Cosmic Defender.
Yep.
A lot of great games.
Oh, okay. So ColecoVision.
ColecoVision.
Best Christmas present you ever got.
ColecoVision.
We'll cut away for a second to Tommy, who says, thank you, save continue. You guys mean the world to me. Merry Christmas.
All right. Merry Christmas.
Raquel says, he's just flattering me. Raquel, I appreciate it, but...
Got to read it out. Come on. You got to read it out. Come on.
Raquel,
there you go.
I'm thankful for you as well.
Absolutely.
Marcos says, I want to thank my friends Edgar, Janet, and Gretchen for making this year easier.
Nice.
Mr. Water Balloon says, I'm thankful for for you and my beautiful fiance. We're planning a wedding this New Year's Eve.
Hey.
Oh, that's really cool.
Happy New Year. I got married in September. September 2003.
Wise
No, 2005. Oops, 2005. Jesus. We met in 2003. Got married in 2005. Oh, jeez.
I was a July wedding in the American South, outdoors. That was a terrible choice.
It's a little warm.
It was real hot.
Yeah.
It rained.
A little moist.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
Antonio says, if it's not too late, and it's not Antonio, I'd like to thank my wife, Nicole, for making 2016 one of the best years of my life.
There you go.
Antonio, I'm glad for you. Well done. Somebody enjoyed 2016.
See, always goes back to what I said. Things are horrible, but life is amazing.
Lewis says, I want to thank my older sister who helps calm me down when I'm stressed out with work and school. Love you, sis. So we'll cut back over here with another instant noodles. What is best sandwich?
Best sandwich. Ooh, sandwiches are... There's a lot of good sandwiches. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like just a good old grilled cheese. Sometimes I feel like a Cuban.
Nobody said Cuban yet.
Yeah.
I lived in Florida for a long time, and Cubans are the best.
Cubans are good.
Oh.
I think my favorite sandwich would have to be the sandwiches that they made at this deli on Commercial Drive in Vancouver. When my dad would go and pick up some supplies for the restaurant, he would go to this Italian deli and like market, and the guy who ran it, his name, now if this is not the most Italian sounding name, Fortunato, which basically is fortune.
Wow, what a great
Fortunato name. He ran the deli, and his deli counter made these great sandwiches with the fresh baked bread, and it was just meat and cheese, and that's it.
Okay, just fresh baked bread, fresh
bread with the fresh meat and the fresh cheese. So Italian deli counter sandwiches would probably have to be my favorite sandwiches.
Oh, I feel underprivileged that I have never tasted this segment of. You just like stuffed me with Chicago style pizza.
Yeah,
and hearing that, I'm still hungry.
There you go.
Marvelous.
There you go.
What's the best song written in the last 100 years?
Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Good choice.
I'm a huge Queen fan. It's they're one of my favorite bands.
Is it the eclectic nature of their catalog? Is it what is it about Queen?
I find all their music just fun. It puts a smile on your face, you know. And with Bohemian Rhapsody, like you look at that music that the kids are listening to today, and it just like Freddie Mercury wrote Bohemian Rhapsody. He's the only credited songwriter for it. One guy wrote that.
The whole thing out.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And then you look at like modern music, and it has 14 writers on it, and they're basically saying the same 4 lines over and over again. And it's just, I don't know, man. There's just something about it. Again, that song is a journey.
Send your angry letters. No, I'm just joking. No, I agree. The fact
and I'm sure there's great songs out there. It's
sure there are great songs out there, but Bohemian Rhapsody is something extraordinary.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the explosion of creativity there. Every now and then, things succeed that deserve to.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ones that popped into the public consciousness, and thank God for Wayne's World reminding us it all existed.
Yeah.
I think I know that's a silly thing, but an entire
it brought it back.
Yeah, it brought it back for a group of people that might otherwise have never turned on the 70s rock station and heard it.
No, totally. And there was, I think it was after Freddie Mercury passed away, there was like some big tribute concert or something. And they performed it, and I believe it was Elton John who sang the first part, and it was Axl Rose who sang the second part.
Oh, wow.
But that bridge, that a cappella bridge, they couldn't do it. They just let the original play.
Because nobody could hit it. That's lovely. The guy was amazing. For people, I'm a little younger than you. And so I wasn't there when it was still radio play popular.
Right.
But when Freddie Mercury died, there was a resurgence of interest in Queen and popular culture. And that's really when I discovered Queen, was on his death, which made me feel like I'd missed out on so much. Yeah. But it was extraordinary.
No, I thank my uncle Antonio for getting me into that. I mean, my uncle was a huge music fanatic growing up. He had one of those guys who had like the wall of LPs, like just, you go to his house and listen to records and stuff, and so he was the one who got me into Queen for sure. So
fantastic. Bohemian Rhapsody is a wonderful choice.
Yeah.
Weirdo FX says big hugs and thank you to my beautiful girlfriend Serena for taking me into her home and loving me when I ran out of places to go.
That's awesome.
That's a great story to tell at the wedding.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I like that one a lot. Let's see. There's another nice person trying to embarrass me with kindness. Here we go. Ricky says, I'm thankful for my dad who burst into laughter with me when he saw Santa Raptor at the Home Depot and we had to buy it.
Nice.
Santa Raptor was the picture.
That's the picture from Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, from Twitter. So I want to thank my stepdad, Malcolm. He has terminal cancer. I will never forget the love and happiness he gave us. Thank you.
Awesome.
Let's see. And then from Nick, thank you to my mom for the great food she's going to make on Christmas. Excellent. Nick's a friend of the show. Yeah,
Awesome.
So, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Black sesame.
Oh, can we be friends?
It's I got introduced to it in Singapore, and whenever I can find it here, it's sometimes Humphrey Slocum.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do a black sesame, and when they have it, it's worth going for.
You can get black sesame in Japantown Mall at the crepe.
Okay.
Crepe stand, not the one downstairs, but the one upstairs.
Okay.
Has black sesame, and they'll make crepes with it.
Yeah.
They go in there, but Japan, that's where I discovered black sesame.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had it in Singapore.
They did. Yeah.
It's lovely.
So yeah, black sesame. If I can't find black sesame, it'd probably be like a chocolate peanut butter. And then if I can't find that, it would probably be mint chocolate chip.
Yeah, and they're all good, but
they're all good.
Man, if you were thinking that sounds weird, guys,
no, you have to try it.
No,
it is so good.
Oh, it's good in mochi
it is
too.
So good.
What's the most terrifying creature in the natural world?
Well, it's the most common answer, but I am deathly afraid of spiders.
Yeah?
Yeah. I have two stories for you.
Okay, I can't wait.
So North Vancouver, my parents' house is up in the hills of North Vancouver, so a lot of greenery around. So yes, there were always spiders. My bedroom was in the basement, so even more spiders. One night I'm watching TV late at night, and because I'm a big guy, when I lie down, I can see my chest. If I'm if my chin is looking straight, I can see my chest.
Preach it.
Yeah, and there's the TV over there, so it's dark watching TV. All of a sudden, I see it crawl across my chest. Now I'm freaked out of spiders, so I jump up and get out of bed. I turn on the light, and there is a big, what we call them wolf spiders, I guess,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're the same down here, but it was a big motherfucker.
Yeah, they're huge.
So I'm like, so it's like 1 a.m. now. I'm like, okay, what the fuck do I do? What do I do?
It's just kind of looking at you,
It's just looking at me. It's on my bed looking at me. And if I moved forward, this guy would move back. And if I moved back, he'd move forward.
He's
I'm like,
reading your mind.
He's reading my goddamn mind. It took me 4 hours to kill that spider. Eventually, what I did was I took 2 cans of Raid, and I just sprayed my entire bed and everything around it and the whole room, until the cans were empty. Closed the door, put a towel under the seam of the door and the floor, and then just waited half an hour.
It was just the scorched earth theory of warfare.
Scorched earth theory of warfare. So I
gave up my bed. I gave myself
I don't know,
diseases.
whatever plants were in there were dead. Everything smelled like Raid. The whole bed was, just, it was awful.
Your skin fell off the next day.
Basically, I couldn't find the spider anymore, of course, but I moved the bed away from the wall, and there he was, but he was moving a lot more slower, right? So I finally got a shoe, and I managed to kill it, but it took me 4 hours to get the gumption to get in there and actually do it.
I'm going to be honest, I think after an epic struggle like that, I kind of feel like you and the spider could have signed a peace accord or something.
No, then it was game on. Then it was full World War.
Don't start a war.
No, don't.
The William Tecumseh Sherman of spider fighters.
Yeah.
Right here.
The second was, a night of drinking with buddies or whatnot. I made a crack that, you got to watch out for spiders because when you sleep, they drink from your eyes. Which at the time got a big laugh.
Till it was time to go to bed.
Till the time it was go to bed. And then, of course, nobody thought about it except for me. And then from that point on, I always make the joke that spiders drink from your eyes. And if you're not careful, they'll crawl into your ears and they'll drive you around like a mech.
Spider gear.
Yeah. So just spiders are, spiders.
Okay,
No.
so that's lovely.
Yeah.
Drink from your eyeballs.
Yeah.
So, sorry about the nightmare fuel.
Yep.
But
welcome to my world.
Again, I'm gonna stick in a shameful plug here. You know, Panda Musk does animation for the KF guys.
Yep.
He and I recorded an episode recently when he was over from Australia, all about spiders.
Oh yeah,
and he's going to animate it. So
I
we're
will.
have an animated episode about spiders.
Never go to Australia just for that reason.
That's all he talks about. It's pretty much 45 minutes of spiders.
Yep.
So can't wait to run that one.
Yeah, and I've been to New Zealand, and there's very few spiders, very few violent creatures whatsoever.
New Zealand just seems kind of chill.
It is chill. It's great. If you ever get a chance, highly recommend it. Beautiful country, beautiful people. It's great. Australia, beautiful people. It looks real pretty, but I'm never going to see it.
It's full of
never going to see it. Yeah. If I went, I would probably like die of a heart attack or something because I'd be so stressed out every single corner I went in, every drawer I opened.
Every time I talk to an Australian about it, it's, I worked with Alana at IGN and Lucy, who's a New Zealander living in Australia, and you get very unique perspectives from both of them, and Panda. But just around the time that I start to think that it's exaggerated, they'll tell some horror story, and I'm like, no, it's not okay.
No.
What's your favorite word?
Goddamn ridiculous.
What's can you give me the word like the spelling bee? Can you use it in a sentence?
Usually it's when somebody says, "Oh, so and so developer called that game is going to be they're not going to hit their milestone. It's going to be 3 weeks late." And like, oh god, that's goddamn ridiculous.
Okay, so that's the context for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
What's the first word you think of when you hear the sound of your own voice?
Cartoon.
Yeah, you think so, like a cartoon?
Yeah, I think I sound like an animated version of what my father sounds like to me.
That's the single most Freudian thing I've heard in 20-some episodes. That's
because my dad, I call him the grumpy Danny DeVito, because he's a smaller Italian guy with balding. Like if they were to make a movie of my life, my dad would be played by Danny DeVito.
That's marvelous.
And
who would you be?
Back, if you shaved off his hair before he became who he is today, what's that guy? The Kevin James.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The guy from King of Queens or whatever.
Oh, I know the guy you're talking about. I can't remember.
The big guy. He always hangs out with Adam Sandler and he does all those movies.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know.
But shave his head, like back before he did King of Queens when he was kind of doing stand-up, him and I had very similar mannerisms.
So the movie is him and Danny DeVito is you and your dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But when my dad talks and just sometimes when I hear my voice, I'm like, oh man, you sound like your dad. Yeah.
If you could travel through time to meet with any one person, who would it be?
If I could travel through time, I would go back to that time I met Kurt Russell and I would have a proper conversation with him.
That's what you'd fix.
That's what I would fix.
Go back and be like,
I know it's extremely selfish. It's not about saving the world or having a dinner with like Beethoven or something like that. Nope. I would want to go back and fix that moment where I met the most important hero in entertainment for me and fix that time so I could have a proper conversation with him.
Do you watch Community?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember the episode where...
Danny Glover meets Geordie LaForge.
Yeah, he meets LeVar Burton. He just stares right there.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like to me.
I got to interview LeVar Burton at E3 this year.
Yeah.
And all I could think of for 2 hours before that interview was that scene. And just be, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
But it's like he was there. Right in front of me, like Snake Plissken was standing there in a bad hairpiece and a beige like checkered jacket because it was the early '80s when Miracle took place. But it was still him. It was still, and I couldn't say a goddamn thing. I just couldn't, and I felt like, that was my moment. That was my moment to rub shoulders with greatness.
Kurt Russell, if you're watching or listening, this man wants to make it right.
Yeah.
Gio Corsi wants to make it
really, I just want to buy him a beer and chat. That's all I want to do. But I couldn't even do that. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's glorious.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Who's your first kiss?
Oh, man. God, I don't really remember. It was elementary school. It was like Truth Dare.
Yeah, one of those.
But
you don't remember who it was?
I think her name was Krista.
You think her name was Krista?
Yeah.
How was it? That was good.
It was so memorable.
This is my favorite question in Instant Noodles because the questions range from I can't remember. Yeah. There's no to like ridiculously detailed, very vivid descriptions.
Yeah, so I'm the former, not the latter.
Yeah, we get all kinds. We got one guy. My favorite is my friend Brendan Graber, who's like my wife. Who the first person he ever kissed, he married. I was just like, wow, he married his high school sweetheart.
Oh, that wasn't me.
It threw me. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't know that was anybody. He just Brendan threw me. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, of course, the big one, cake or pie.
Pie.
Well done.
100%.
Well done.
Either a key lime or a sour cherry.
Ooh.
But I do like the savory ones as well, like the meat pies or.
The meat pies are
out of sight.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sour cherry. I like a good sour cherry.
I love me a sour cherry pie. And there's a big difference between sour cherry and cherry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can
Huge
you
difference.
qualify that for our audience?
The flavor, the depth of the flavor. It takes, again, it's all about that journey with food. It's all about the journey of having that super tart that goes into the sweet, that goes into the mellow. Yeah.
I love that. That's very similar when people compare strawberry rhubarb pie to rhubarb pie.
Right.
It's two different universes.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rhubarb pie is the superior pie when properly prepared.
Right.
They're both great, but they're different.
Yeah.
Last one. I always ask this one at the end. What's one question you have for me?
Well, before we started, I mean, like, this is only the second time we've met.
Yeah.
So in person. So, we just had some amazing conversations before we started rolling. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're too
which is
kind.
great. It was. It's good to get to know you a little bit better.
I felt like a babbling idiot.
Nope.
You're like, no, no. I'm like, I will make word not make sense talk good. So I kind of felt like
Didn't come across that way
about.
whatsoever. So, obviously, I love the podcast. I think it's great. Where do you see it in 2 years?
Oh man. Realistically, we're doing this. If I can get a pretty good day off the ground the way I want to and get the format nailed down, if I really can do that the way I'd like, and figure out how to do two shows at once as part of the same Pockets Full Soup kind of family, I think the next thing I'd like to do is start moving into two branches that are related in my head, but that may not be related in other people's. One of those is finding other ways to tell stories, because I love telling stories. I'd like to write more. I'd like to take other people's stories and bring them to a larger audience. I'd like to do the part where we're just talking about stories that are made up and stories that aren't made up and stories that are half made up and stories that are real life and that are beautiful, and just tell them because they make people's lives more rich. I feel like most of the lessons that we hear in life are just reminders of things we've already learned, but we need to keep hearing them.
Yeah.
We need to hear them in beautiful, profound ways at the moments we most need them. We need those reminders because life beats you down.
Yeah.
That's one. The other is I'd like to see us actually help people in concrete ways. I think about the possibility of putting together at first maybe some more documentary type features to highlight things people are doing, more produced, but then eventually actually finding ways to go into local communities and help other people go into local communities and just make life a little more bearable. That's what I hope for.
That's awesome.
See if it happens.
That's awesome.
That's a lot of ambition for a short period of time, and I don't know if I'm going to pull it off or not, and we'll try.
Even if you get 75% there, that's 75% further than you are today.
Yeah, thanks. But that's what I'm going to try. We'll see.
Yeah.
I love doing this.
It's great.
It helps me in a lot of ways, and I think every now and then I read words from somebody. Some people email us, write, or just come up, shake my hand at events, and every now and then I think we actually made somebody's life a little better.
Well, like I said earlier, that's why I listened to it, and that's why I became a backer. It's just, in an industry that is just so focused on success and what's the next best thing and what can we bring to the gamer and what's this new thing and what's this new game and whatnot. And then, online, when you have online personality or you open yourself up to your fans and people online, you're going to get hit with negativity. You are going to, no matter how good your product is or how good the game is or how good the show was or how good the showcase or press event was, you're going to get hit with negativity. And after a while, no matter how strong your walls are, that negativity is going to break through sometimes. And it happens to you. It happens to me. It happens to all of us. And what I love about this show is it's very cathartic. It is cathartic because you just hear people sharing stories. It's not about this awesome product that they're working on or this game that they've been wanting to make their entire life. It's about them, and it's about the people in their lives, and it's about how those people helped shape their lives. And it's positivity wrapped up in getting to know a different person every week, and I love it.
Thank you. I'm enjoying doing it. I feel terribly inept sometimes, but people keep supporting it and keep telling me it's going.
But it's natural because it's natural. It's just a conversation. Really, it's a conversation. Yeah, that's all. We're
crazy.
It's
and
a
I get to meet so many nice people doing this. I mean, this is the second time we've ever talked.
Yeah.
And you're just you're neat. I like you. You and your family. Just
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. So, Merry Christmas to you.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
You can mail us at mail@pocketsfullsoup.com with comments, suggestions, thank yous for the people in your life. Try to keep those short. Stories about the very good days you've had for our Very Good Day podcast, which we pop out there every now and then in the middle of this feed. You can subscribe on iTunes and rate us and all that stuff. And, of course, I never mind if you go to patreon.com/JaredPetty and send a few bucks my way, because that really helps. So, thanks a lot. Thank you, Gio.
Thank you.
You've been extraordinary. I'll see y'all in the new year.
Yeah. Happy 2017.